Hello, welcome back to my channel Dark Corner. Today I'm going to tell you about 10 different haunted stories you can't even dream about. Keep your popcorns ready and enjoy the long ride. Story number 1. The Whispering Mirror. They say old houses remember, but this one whispered. Clara moved into the crumbling Victorian mansion after inheriting it from a distant, and she never met, a lonely woman who was rumored to have gone mad inside these walls. The house sat in the shadow of towering pines, miles from town, shrouded in a silence that felt deliberate. On her first day exploring the attic, Clara found something unusual beneath a moth-eaten sheet, an antique mirror, tall and framed with blackened wood carved in the shape of roses. Each rose had a face in the center, mouths slightly open like they were mid-scream. It was beautiful in a twisted way, and Clara, despite the unease in her stomach, dragged it down into her bedroom. That night, the house groaned, as if adjusting to a new presence. The mirror reflected more than just her image. When Clara moved, her reflection lagged. It blinked when she didn't. And one night, it smiled, though her lips never moved. The whispers began on the third night, soft at first, like distant wind. "Clara!" they called. "Come through!" She stopped sleeping. Shadows moved in the glass that didn't exist in the room. Her phone camera captured nothing unusual, but when she played back the recordings, she heard it, breathing. Whispers layered upon whispers. Each morning, she awoke with deep scratches on her arms and legs. She tried to get rid of the mirror, drove it deep into the woods and left it there. But when she returned home, it was waiting for her, already back on the wall, smeared with something dark. The last time anyone saw Clara, she was standing in front of the mirror, motionless, her eyes wide open and empty. The police found the house abandoned, covered in dust, as if no one had lived there in years. But sometimes, on moonless nights, passers-by swear they see a flicker of movement in the attic window, and a pale face in the mirror, still smiling, forever waiting for someone else to answer its whispers. Story number 2. The Doll in the Attic. The house had been in their family for generations, nestled at the edge of a decaying forest that always seemed a little too quiet. When Ava and her younger brother Leo moved into their late grandmother's home, they weren't afraid, just curious. The old house creaked and sighed like it had secrets buried in every wall. On a rainy afternoon, they climbed up into the attic, where dust hung in the air like fog. That's when they found it, a locked wooden box tucked under a rotting sheet. Inside was a porcelain doll with delicate painted lips, tangled black hair, and one glass eye shattered like a spiderweb. Something about it felt wrong, ancient, like it had been waiting. Ava thought it might be valuable, so they left it on a shelf in her bedroom. That night, she heard tiny footsteps. Thinking it was Leo, she got up, only to find him fast asleep. The next morning, the doll was at the foot of her bed, its head tilted slightly, its one good eye staring straight into hers. They tried locking it in a closet, but it always returned, always closer. One night, Leo woke up screaming. Deep red scratches ran down his arms. Ava, now afraid to sleep, watched the doll through her phone's camera. At exactly 3 a.m., it turned its head, slowly. It blinked. Then it smiled. They tried to burn it. The fire roared unnaturally high, and for a moment, they heard a shriek, high-pitched, inhuman, furious. But in the ashes the next day, the doll sat untouched. Its eye was whole again. Ava and Leo ran. They never went back. But weeks later, a neighbor spotted a figure in the attic window, a girl's silhouette, holding a small doll. The house is empty. The power's been shut off for years. And yet, every night, a soft lullaby plays from upstairs, and a glass eye gleams in the dark. Story number 3. The Man Beneath the Floorboards. Jordan was a quiet student, the kind of guy who preferred books over parties, which made his off-season rental cabin in the mountains feel like a peaceful escape from campus life. The landlord told him it was an old hunting lodge, and the rent was cheap. Too cheap. The first week was calm, but then Jordan began hearing things at night. Not mice. Not creaks. Something heavier. At exactly 2:14 a.m., the same sound repeated, a slow, deliberate knocking beneath the wooden floor. He brushed it off as an old house settling, until the knocking became a rhythm, like breathing. He joked about it on video calls with his friends, calling it the ghost under the floorboards. But after the seventh night, the joke stopped being funny. That's when it whispered. A hoarse voice, close to the wood, said his name, once, then again, then laughter. Jordan tore up the floor in a panic, uncovering an old trapdoor, covered in soot and claw marks. It wasn't on the blueprints. It wasn't supposed to be there. He opened it and pointed his flashlight into the darkness. The beam caught only part of a room, and two eyes, too far apart to be human, staring back. Something moved. Something long and wrong. He slammed it shut and piled furniture over it. The next morning, he called the landlord, but the number was disconnected. His messages went unanswered. That night, the knocking returned. But this time, it came from the walls. Jordan's final video upload was a frantic vlog, his eyes bloodshot, whispering that something crawled through the pipes, something wearing skin that wasn't its own. Then static. When police investigated, the cabin was empty, torn apart from the inside. But beneath the floorboards, in the space where the trapdoor should have been, there was only dirt. No basement. No crawl space. No door. Just claw marks burned into the wood, and the faint echo of breathing, if you listened closely enough. Story number 4. The elevator that skipped a floor. The Maple Crest Apartments had been around since the 1940s, a gray, concrete building towering over a quiet Chicago neighborhood. Residents swore it was cursed, especially the elevator. Everyone knew the building had no 13th floor, it jumped straight from 12 to 14. But at night, especially after midnight, strange things happened. One of the tenants, Elise, a night shift nurse, was coming home late when the elevator stopped between floors. The buttons flickered, and the digital display showed 13. Confused, she thought it was a glitch, until the doors slid open. The hallway was dim, washed in flickering green light. The walls were cracked, the carpet wet like it had just rained. There were portraits on the wall, but every face was blank, just smooth skin where features should be. As she stepped out, the elevator closed behind her. A door at the end of the hall creaked open. Something crawled out, tall, misshapen, dragging its limbs like they didn't belong to it. Elise ran back and slammed the elevator button. When the doors opened again, she fell inside and hit the lobby button repeatedly. It took her back. She never spoke about it to anyone. But weeks later she vanished. Her apartment was locked from the inside. No signs of struggle. Just her shoes in front of the elevator, and a message scratched into the wall behind her mirror. 13 is always waiting. The elevator still functions. But if it ever pauses between 12 and 14, and the lights flicker, you'd better pray it skips the floor. Story number 5. The phone that rang from 1987. Marcus liked vintage things. When he found an old rotary phone at a garage sale, he bought it as a quirky addition to his apartment. It was heavy, black, and still had a faint smell of ozone. He didn't expect it to work, but a week later it rang. Startled, Marcus answered, and on the other end was a panicked voice, female, young, crying. She said her name was Sarah. "Please," she said. "My house is on fire. I'm trapped." Marcus tried to calm her, asked where she was, but the line cut off with a horrible scream. Disturbed, he checked the caller ID. It flashed a date, October 3, 1987. He thought it was a malfunction. But when he searched the address she gave, he found news articles. Sarah Thomas, 19, died in a house fire on that exact day in 1987. The phone rang again the next night. Same time. Same voice. Begging. Dying. Marcus unplugged the phone, but it rang anyway. He destroyed it. Burned it. Smashed it to pieces. But every year on October 3rd, at exactly 9:17 p.m., his phone, no matter the model, rings once. And if he answers, it's her again, reliving her final moments, forever.